Well, to the White House now, where President Trump is pushing ahead with his America First agenda, with Vice President J.D. Vance and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz in Greenland. Trump has said repeatedly that he wants to take over the island territory. Vance echoing that today, saying the U.S. administration is very interested in, quote, Arctic security. The trip coming amid scrutiny over at the Signal Group, where the country's top defense and intelligence officials, including Vance and Waltz, discussed an attack on Houthi rebels hours before the attack happened. Waltz took responsibility for creating the chat group and added a journalist to the group. Two Republican sources tell NBC News that President Trump is privately angry with Waltz. So joining us tonight is NBC News military analyst, retired four-star Army General Barry McCaffrey, to discuss all of this. General, thanks for being with us.
Good to be with you, Joyce.
We're going to start with the Vice President's trip to Greenland, where J.D. Vance slammed Denmark, told Greenlanders they would be better off as part of the United States. Your reaction to his visit there today?
Well, you know, if it wasn't so serious, with such consequences, essentially a criminal threat to a NATO ally, Denmark, which has horrified most of Europe, indeed global actors. It's never going to happen. We have 150 Guardians, Air Force space people up in 1,000 miles north of the capital of Greenland. We never have wanted to base another ship there, a fighter squadron, a Marine battalion. So it's hard to imagine what they are thinking of. But it's expansionist. It sounds like Teddy Roosevelt 100 years ago. It's out of this world, ham-fisted reaction. And it produced a black mark on, Vance for being stupid enough to go up there and carry this mission out.
I think it would be safe to say that many Americans' jaws were dropped today as they were hearing that speech, as he slammed that country and told Greenland, we should be over your control. What's the point? What's the long game here? Help us make sense of it.
Well, I don't think it makes any sense whatsoever. It's a political disaster. It's alienating the wealthiest bloc of nations on the face of the earth, the European Union. It's encouraging Putin and Xi. And by the way, Vance justifies it. He fears Chinese, notice no Russian, incursions around Greenland. This lithium and the minerals and all that, it's under 1,000 feet of ice. You almost can't get up there for 6 to 9 months of the year in a ship. It's absolutely boffo what they're up to.
Of course, you're well aware of the security breach on Signal. There still has been zero accountability. I think a lot of Americans are concerned about national security after seeing what happened with that and maybe questioning the administration's competence. Are those legitimate concerns for you?
Well, they sure are. I think one of the problems, by the way, is this use of the Signal chat was an attempt to bypass the Official Records Act, in which you're required by law, passed by Congress, to maintain copies, electronic files of all decision-making papers. And so they were stepping aside. Undoubtedly, they were all told Signal is not a secure means of communication. We spent billions of dollars to establish the SIPRNet, to have a way for it to run these operations without putting at risk Navy combat aviators or Air Force pilots. I think they fired everybody in the White House and they got there. All these bright young people were shuffled off. The people that are now in office in a lot of these jobs don't know where Mongolia is. They don't know the telephone number of the president of France. That's part of the problem. And some of these cabinet offers are extremely ignorant of how things really work.
I have one more question for you. Changes are coming fast on the global stage domestically with DOGE, massive federal layoffs across multiple agencies, the immigration crackdown. I think it's safe to say that a lot of Americans are feeling scared. They might be feeling helpless. They don't really understand what's going on as it's moving so fast. I'm curious, what are you feeling and what advice would you offer those of us who are sort of watching it play out?
They are trying to crack the federal government in disregard of congressional law that establishes these agencies, that approves the leadership, Senate confirmation, that dictates their budgets every year. They're ignoring the law. They're breaking Department of Education. They're breaking, FEMA, some aspects of State Department, Department of Justice. It's an outrage. They're now looking at the Ponzi scheme of Social Security and Medicaid. Congress has been supine. The judicial system so far is sort of holding to the law, but we're in real trouble. The only solution at the end of the day is voters voting for candidates of character in the primaries and the general election. There's some real gonzo people in senior positions right now in Washington.
General McCaffrey, thank you so much for your insight and your time. I have so many more questions, but we're going to have to wait until the next time we chat. Thank you so much.